Hey guys, how's it going? I know this video is a little bit late and that's not like me. However, mental health days are important, so I would like to say first and foremost, take care of yourselves. First and foremost, always. So today I'm going to be talking about Carl Jung's perspective on the self and why looking at your shadow is so desperately important. But I'd like to start it off with what I'm projecting, the little ways of looking at life in my videos is just another perspective. So I was on Wikipedia and going down a rabbit hole because I always go down these rabbit holes that lead to one thing after another, kind of a hobby of mine. But anyway, so I came across the word intellect. I was looking at your etheric body, and the word intellect came up. So I wanted to look into this. And what they're talking about in this is in the study of human mind, intellect is the ability of the human mind to reach correct conclusions about what is true and what is false in reality, and how to solve problems. Translated from the ancient Greek philosophical whatever concept, intellect, derived from the Latin word, I believe it's pronounced intelligere, but we're gonna make sure of that. Intelligere, which means to understand, from which the term intelligence in the English and French languages is also derived. The discussion of intellect can be divided into two areas that concern the relation between intelligence and intellect. So, when you go a little bit further down, so this is all based off Wikipedia, and the reason why I love Wikipedia so much is because it offers perspective. If I wanted facts, then I would always do things the way that they were always done. I like Wikipedia because perspective allows me to continuously be growing. Okay, so intellect and psychotherapy. I'm going to read you this statement here about their approach to it in psychotherapy and why they choose to avoid it. And then I'm going to refer it back to Carl Jung, the book that I'm reading about his psychology and how it's exactly the same thing. So intellectualization is a psychotherapeutic method based of intense intellectual focus in order to avoid dealing with the problem that occupies the attention of a person in psychological praxis. Intellectualization is a defense mechanism that blocks feelings in order to prevent anxiety and stress from acting upon and interfering with the psyche of the person, which otherwise would interfere with their normal functioning in real life. As psychotherapy, intellectualization is a rational, dispassionate, and scientific approach towards dealing with and resolving mental problems which psychologically disturb the person. So the functioning of intellectualization involve the id, which is the animal instincts, the ego, the superego, and the superego. The ego is the conscious aspect of the human personality. The id is the unconscious animal instinct aspect, and the superego is the control mechanism which meditates the adjustment of a person's thoughts and actions and behaviors in accordance with social norms of society. So the purpose of intellectualization is to isolate the animal instincts from the real world and so make the conscious aspect of the person's life the only object of reflection and concentration. Therefore, intellectualization defends and protects the ego from the animal instincts, unconscious aspect of the human personality that usually is impossible to control. Okay. So, this means that everything that we've been taught in school or what they've told us about human history, that this is what we're going to do if we resort and we take away all the government, if we take away all of the police and we have been led to believe that if we didn't have any of this, we would destroy ourselves. We would kill each other off. And because we've been led to believe this, that's what would happen. unless people know that they have the conscious will to choose otherwise. And intellectualization is what gives people that conscious choice to choose otherwise. They also mention in here so okay, the defense mechanism of intellectualization is criticized because it separates and isolates the person from the painful emotions caused by the psychological problem. As such, the defense mechanism subsequently leads to the denial of intuition, which sometimes contributes to the process of decision making. A negative consequence of the absence of the emotional stimuli can deprive the person of motivation and lead to a mood of dissatisfaction, such as melancholy or emotional constipation, threatens their creativity by replacing such capabilities with factual solutions. Okay, 100%, this is right. I did this to myself. I've always, how I coped with my life was through intellectualization. So, because I've done it and I went through the loss of my intuition and the effects of decision making, I'm now able to come back to it and look at it from the observer perspective. So when I talk about objective and subjective, so subjective would be the person in the experience, whereas an objective would be the one observing the experience. Take yourself out of it and look at yourself as if you're going through the experience from the observer point of view. And there's ways to avoid losing your intuition. There's ways to avoid making bad decisions. It doesn't have to happen this way. I have lost myself and I had to get myself back to who I was. So, and in Carl Jung's book here, what I was reading is, and this is what it relates to. In these forms, inner work seeks to advance what Jung called our individualization, the fulfillment of the blueprint of who we are, including both our conscious and unconscious selves. Individuation means becoming more of who we are, less split, less broken inside ourselves. It is the enhancement of inner healing. Jung saw his lived process of connecting to the different qualities inside of us as bringing about a greater wholeness, healthier internal integration. Being better able to see and accept more of who we are means that there is less internal division between conscious and unconscious. This usually enables us not only to live better, but to relate to others better and to have a clear view of the world around us. In this way, we can understand inner work as not merely egotistical, self-involved, navel-gazing, but as a spiritual quest, a task that we do or fail to do. Effective work with the unconscious heals the split that enables the ego to come into being. So, I do believe we all have an ego, but do you have like a healthy ego or unhealthy ego? An unhealthy ego. Hey, let me ask you this one question. If you met somebody and you thought they were a pretty awesome person, and when you go to a different side of the party, you run into your other friend and they're like, hey man, I heard this and this about that guy. I wouldn't hang out with him. Are you going to take his word for it and just completely ditch that guy? Or are you going to make your own opinion, your own judgment based off who that person is? See, I always made my own opinion and my own judgment based off who people were. And I'm not saying it helps me every time, but why am I going to start listening to other people? Who knows what that person did to make a situation happen? And at the end of the day, trust the vibes you get off people. Don't, just like perspective, why I like Wikipedia. I want perspective. I don't want facts. I'm not looking to continue what we've always done. I'm looking to change what what we can go into. And perspective is everything on that. We do have the free will to make that perspective, and we do have the free will to behave in such a way. Don't let anyone believe that you're not capable of anything, okay? Because you're capable of absolutely everything.